Hi there. My name is Ron Yaish from Balance Financial Life, where we focus on money and financial education. Today we're going to be addressing a specific question. We had a series where we went into various different discussions regarding emergency funds, and when we receive questions, or when we notice that people are asking similar types of questions, or you yourself can go to balancedfinanciallife.com and you can ask us a question. You can go on any one of those pages that we have. Most of the pages, I believe, have a section called Ask Ron. Put in your name, and you don't have to put in your name. You can just put in the question. If you provide us with an email address, we try to respond back as best as we can. But when we get these types of questions or we notice patterns, we try to address it in a very specific way. So we got two types of questions regarding emergency funds. I believe the answer is so similar, I'm going to put them together. The title of this, I'm assuming, is going to be a little more elaborate to cover those that are looking for this type of information. So the question is, or the question that was coming in was about a rental. Somebody explains that they have a rental and they wanted to know how should they handle if they have an emergency with their rental unit. How should they handle that vis-a-vis their emergency fund that they've been working on? And then the second question was regarding somebody who has their own business, self-employed. They run. They're a solo practitioner, or they're an independent contractor. How should they handle the situation if they have to, meet an expense and they don't have enough money there? Should they tap into their emergency fund? So the answer is yes and no. Yes, you should tap into the emergency fund because that's what it's there for. And no, you should not tap into your personal emergency fund. Oh, okay, that was a little confusing. In other words, what I have seen as best practice, and I've seen people do this and it works wonders, is essentially, let's address the first one, right? So whether you're somebody who is running your own small business as a landlord because you have a unit, right? You have a rental unit, or you're somebody that's running your own business and you are a therapist and you are a solo practitioner, you have money coming in and you have money going out. So from the money that is coming in, you should be setting some money aside, just like you do for utilities, for your cell phone, for tax planning. You should set money aside for your emergency fund. And more specifically, I would actually set money aside in both the rental unit example and in the small business example. I would set money aside there well before I use any of that money to set money aside for retirement. Again, depending on the situation, always important to put out a disclosure that the information shared here by us is meant for educational purposes only. Before taking any action regarding finances or taxes, please seek the guidance of a professional. But having said that, what I've seen people do is, for example, it could be a little bit tricky, right? So the discussion with your financial planner or your tax planner, whether you are 55 and you may not have enough in savings and you're doing this self-employed work really as a side hustle to build up your savings, vis-a-vis somebody who's in their 20s and 30s who has a lot of time to really set aside money for retirement, the conversation may be different. You may be cutting the pie in one situation, or you may be dumping everything into the emergency fund. Best practice is to put money into the emergency fund. So that with the rental unit, I don't know what the turnaround time is in that area or for that type of property, which you could seek the guidance from a local realtor who does these types of things. Excuse me, I'm so sorry for clearing my throat. to see what is the turnaround time. If you had a vacancy, is your vacancy likely to be around on average 2 months or on average 8 months? You'd probably want to have that and then a little more in an account so you don't get caught, because you may have a mortgage still on that. You may have some other you may have some other obligations such as taxes or homeowners insurance, homeowners association obligations, or insurance that you have to cover. So definitely recommend setting aside money in the ideal, setting the 6 to 12 months aside before you start drawing on that money to use for savings, etc., retirement savings. That's assuming that you're not using this money for your own living expenses, because then it just becomes part of the, how much expendable money do you have, right? So you have money coming into your household, you have money going out of the household, and this discussion specifically for the person who has their own small business or runs a little real estate rental business. You should also set money aside for taxes. Don't forget that piece, right? So you have taxes you have to set aside money for. You want to set money aside for the emergency fund as well as for incidentals. I don't mean incidentals. I mean upkeep, right? So you may need to repaint the apartment every 2 years or whenever somebody else comes in. And you may need to update the appliances. So that's money that is coming up. It's not an emergency, right? Emergency money, by definition, is for something that you didn't expect. If you did expect something, then you want to set that money aside, and that would be a good idea. And even if it's a little bit every month, but then you have peace of mind. The more you focus on this stuff, the more peace of mind you'll have, and that's a big deal. Okay. Let us know if you have any other questions. Feel free to check out Ask Ron on the website, balancefinanciallife.com. Send us a question, or send us a question down below, and we'll try to address it and get back to you and do one of these because of a question that you brought forward. Thank you for being part of our learning community. Bye-bye.